Hallo en welkom weer so by Farmspace, Ommie Vuur na Nampo. Ek praat vanaand met Dominique van AGCO. Ons gaan 'n bietjie meer gesels oor wat is sy ervaring by Nampo gewees tot dusver. Hoe sien hulle die goed in die wêreld? Bietjie mechanisasie praat. Paar planne wat jy dalk op die plaas kan uitvoer. Ons weet almal die yster is nie maklik nie, die kostes is moeilik en daar's 'n paar ander uitdagings. Maar kom ons kyk bietjie wat is die oplossings wat ons mee vorendag kan kom en hoe kan ons die goed deurtrek. Dominique, how are you?
Very good, how are you?
No, I'm good. By the way, we need to go to English now because he's German, so I'm not doing this on purpose.
We can speak German as well.
Oh yeah, we can do the German. You're gonna have to speak slowly. Dominique, what is so we've been having Nampo, and what has been your experience thus far?
First of all, we are very happy that we have a Nampo after 3 years that we have the first Nampo, so we are all very excited. We are happy that we finally can meet all our customers and all of the industry, and we see that there's a lot of interest from the farming community in South Africa, and yeah, very happy to welcome you. If you haven't been there yet, come to our stand. We're happy to see you there.
And listen up, first of all, I just want to thank you as well for helping us put together this program. I think it's really fundamental that some of the information that gets out here gets to the farmers, just for us to be able to make some better decisions going forward. So, first of all, I just want to get into Dominique. Give me your history first. How does a German guy end up in South Africa, as head of AGCO?
Yeah, I'm, as you said, German, born and raised on a farm in Germany, grown up on it.
Well, that's a good starting point. Raised on a farm, I like that.
So definitely, and studied agriculture with a big focus on international agriculture. So I was very interested already in that time to see how farming works in different parts of the world, and then had the opportunity to travel to Africa quite a few times and liked what I've seen, and then I ended up here.
So whereabouts in Africa did you? All over the place.
Pretty much all over the place, yeah. So I've been from North Africa to East Africa, Southern Africa, in many parts of Africa already, and like the South most, so that's why I'm here.
Well, you couldn't go down anymore. So listen, there's another thing I've heard a rumor too that you actually worked in the factory as well and had some experience. Just tell me a little bit around that part of yourself.
Yeah, I started working in product management, so based in the factory, and then was in that time on the green harvesting side, and was responsible for business development in Africa and Asia, so working the factory part to develop the markets in Africa and Asia. So that was a start, and from there then moved into the market later on.
So okay, but you're talking development of like for a big conglomerate in terms of Africa, Asia, and so forth. What are the types of things that you're looking for when you're saying, okay, cool, they're sending you off into this dark hole of a continent and saying, okay, go and develop these markets for us. How do you go about, what are all the different factors that you actually need to look at to say, okay, this is, first of all, which products do I need to bring here and how do we do this and how do we deal with some of these intricate measures or mechanisms that's involved in this?
First of all, it always starts with understanding what's going on. So understanding what is needed from farmers in the different parts of the world, and then see what we can do to help to develop it to the next level. So that's always it starts with trying to understand what they're doing today and what technology is out there to improve and move them to the next level up.
So, and I think everyone would agree that, I mean, Massey and Fendt specifically, both of these brands have really come in Usela and Rasseskrede in leaps and bounds. That's the word I was looking for. In leaps and bounds, you've been going forward the past 2 to 3 years where things have really been picking up. how specifically did you identify those needs for the commercial farmers? Because clearly you're doing something right.
Thank you. Thank you, first of all. I think we are doing things right. And I think I agree with you. We are on the right way. We are on a good way. And yeah, it's again, so we need to understand what are the shortcomings, where are the shortcomings in the current system or in the current offering, and then address those. And that can be organizational shortcomings, can be product gaps which we had to fill. And I think we've addressed many of these topics at the same time. So by changing our business model, by changing or by closing some of the product gaps that we had before, and have a more attractive offering and more solutions to offer to the farmers. And that comes together quite nicely.
So, and on that point, because at the end of the day, you're looking at that in terms of out of a risk management strategy to say, okay, how do we address these things and manage, as you say, let's say there's some product issues or internal structuring, whatever the case might be, how do we address that? And similarly, the world is a really, really interesting place at this stage, and I mean we've, as I said in a previous video, we never thought that even if we now talk about it, still it's like if someone would have told you pre-COVID that there will be an event which will cause every single restaurant to close, every plane to be grounded in the world, it's like still we cannot fathom that. It was like we came out, well, we were in the twilight zone for a little bit. But I think the whole world has been fundamentally changed in every single aspect. And I think, I mean, if you look at the mechanization part of it, that's one component of it, and where we've now suddenly moved into certain challenges. What has been, if we look at the value change, for a company like, I know, for example, let's say something like the chips or whatever, what has been some of the biggest challenges for you as a company to still be able to provide me as a farmer with a tractor on time? Because I don't care. If you're not delivering my tractor, I'm going to buy the other one that's got a tractor at the end of the day. So how do you manage to still, because that's at the end of the day how you survive as a company? What is it that you take into account when you make all your decisions?
So first of all, I highly doubt that if you don't get a tractor from us, I highly doubt that you would get one somewhere else.
It's so backward jam.
No, but it is where the planning is very important on that one, and it's difficult planning. But we're working on trying to anticipate the demands in the markets and trying to order the machines well in advance. The factory lead times become longer, which is not just, or I think it's a misperception that this is only caused by COVID. So I think the main driver of that is a global demand. The global demand has increased significantly, and it's at the moment not a situation.
But why is that? Why did the global demand increase significantly?
First of all, that there are quite favorable product prices at the moment, and the weather conditions also have been favorable in many parts of the world in the last years. And the demand for food is just increasing with the increasing population. So at the moment it comes where it's not like it has been in previous cycles. There's always a cyclical industry. It's not that that there are some regions in the world on a peak and others on a low. At the moment there's a quite high demand globally. So all our factories are running pretty much on max capacity.
The red line.
Yeah, you can call it like that. And it's not just on our side, it's industry-wide, and it's also affecting a lot of other industries like automotive or commercial vehicles and so on. And we are sharing a lot of suppliers with these other industries as well. So specifically that automotive, commercial vehicles, that leads to a shortage. And that the main reason for that shortage in supply is the increasing demand. That comes together with a few other disturbances in the supply chain, like shipping lines which can't operate due to COVID or sometimes local topics, and that there's a congestion in the port or whatever reason it might be. So that adds on top of it, but the main cause is just the very high demand on a global level. That is the main. So we are trying to push out of our factories way more products than we've ever pushed out of the same factories before, So and that is definitely the main driver for these shortcomings or shorting. When you see as an individual farmer, I might not be able to get that product in the same time as I was able to get it before.
But and you touch on an important part is that I, I feel from my experience that it's almost like a whole set of events almost push back our whole supply chain worldwide like 10 or 15 years or something. We were used to be able to get some overnight. Boom, just put it on a plane. There it goes. How long do you think it will take for us to go back to that normal, or will we go back to that normal? Just because now suddenly shops has also realized that I don't need to carry the stock. People are willing to wait for 3 or 4 days. Or is it something that the competitor will just bring it quicker, and we'll get you back to that level at some stage where you can still get anything you want. You just have to plan a little bit better, because you might have to wait a few days or a few weeks for whatever you want to get. How do we plan around something like that? What's your take on it?
I wouldn't just see it in that way. I also would see that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is that the demand gets more specific. So it's, if you want to get something right here, right now, what you just mentioned, on the next day, it must be kind of an off-the-shelf solution. I think the demand is getting way more specific today. So you want to have a machine which specifically fits your purpose, what you want to do with it, with a specification as you need it. And that is something which needs a bit of planning, because you can order the machine in the specification as you need it, that it perfectly fits your purpose if you order it from factory production. So but that is something which you need to plan a little bit in advance, and that the machine can be produced to your specific requirements and can then come in the way as you want to have it. I definitely think that we will see a bit of a decreasing lead times and a quicker response in the near future as well. But I think that comes together with a bit of a downtrend, and that it's a cyclical industry. There are up cycles and down cycles.
Yep.
So, and we are aware of that, and that will change on that side. But I'm not sure if farmers still want it to change, because once they get used to, I can order the machines, I can order whatever I need in exactly the way as it fits my purpose. I think that will stay.
Definitely, because I've I know how to farm better than the next guy, but for this I need XYZ in my tractor or with my fertilizer or whatever, and
that
I've
might
got
be
that
some
specific need.
And that might be something different on your neighbor. It might be something different in the next region. So if you just try to draw from stock which has been imported already, and then you need to make some compromise in the specifications.
So, and the other thing is also, if we're looking at the prices of mechanization, tractors specifically, you'll have the numbers. I've got no clue. I just know everything's more expensive. It's like looking at the field price. I don't do that anymore. You just throw in and you push the slip and then you go. But with tractors, in any case, for example, the prices have gone up. So, and accordingly, we've got fertilizer prices and your input costs and everything. Everything just keeps going up. Yes, we've got the commodity prices on the other side. That's also going up. But I always want the most amount of money on this side, and I want to pay the least amount here. Doesn't matter how you look at the sum. How do I keep doing that? How do I pay the less here, but I still can reap the benefits from this side?
You, as a farmer, and also on our side, you can't really define the product prices, and you also can't define the input prices. But what you can define is how efficient you're using the inputs to produce your outputs. And I think there's a huge benefit and there's huge progress in the last years with modern technology, that you can use your inputs more efficiently. Just give you an example: fuel consumption, fuel efficiency. I think it's
but then you're sitting pretty, eh? As you were saying, efficiency of fueling, because I mean, between the Fendt and the Massey's, that's your claim to fame. That's basically, I can talk from experience with our Massey's that is indeed the case. Spoken to a few farmers that on the Fendt side, I can't say that from experience. that's also the case. But so as a company, you must be smiling and saying, okay, but we've got a product that actually can work in this space.
It helps you save money, yes. It helps you save money. Or fuel, as you said, is getting more and more expensive, so it is a very important factor. Definitely, it's one of our strengths. So fuel efficiency is one of the key objectives when we develop a new product, and that's why we put a lot of effort to reduce the fuel consumption for the specific task and for the work you're doing. And the engineers have done that very successfully. But efficiency is also impacting all other parts of farming, also parts where we don't have any inputs of, for example, using your nutrients more efficient. So using your fertilizers really more specific to what the soil conditions are, what yield expectations you have. So variable rates application is one keyword in that. So efficiency has to go along the full value chain. So fuel efficiency is definitely one driver of that. And a lot of technology helps then also to reduce reduce the inputs that you're using and to increase the efficiency. Prime example is the automated guidance systems.
Yeah.
So which just helps you to reduce overlaps, use your fertilizers, your chemicals, and your fuel more efficient.
But there's also always a inherent cost to the technology side, and in a lot of cases, I've now got this fancy machine and it can do a bunch of stuff, and I can give you very pretty pictures, but it doesn't feel to me like it's okay. Let's say adding the value, or if it adds that value, it comes at such a cost where it doesn't really make sense. But what do you think going forward? Will the more expensive prices accelerate the take up of these technologies? And will those technologies yield a better outcome for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's clear, and just staying with the example of the guidance systems. So I think you can save, I don't know, 3%, 5%, depending on what machine you're using on your inputs by reducing the overlaps, for example. So 5% is a different monetary value with the fertilizer prices that you have to pay now than it has been a year ago. So in that way, the payback periods for the technology to go into it are getting way shorter. So I think it definitely is a push towards technology. It's a push towards efficiency, and in that way, I think there's a lot of good solutions out there which help you to reduce your costs to produce more. And happy to invite you again. Come visit us in our stand, and we will go through it in detail. So,
and I can have a proper look at all the different things that you've actually got there. Okay, but there's another component to efficiency that I also want to touch on, and that's the word saying fuel and all of that. But how do you look at the running cost of let's say a piece of equipment, and how do I get the best out of that?
yeah, so there are different ways how to. So total cost of ownership, or the total costs per ton produced, that is usually the right measurement that you need to look at as a farmer. So so it's not even of ownership, because that's not defining how much you are doing with it. So but if you really define it per ton of whatever you produce, this is the right measurement. And there are different.
So when it's standing in the shed and I only do 300 hectares with it, versus when I do over time period, the payments is the same, or I do 1,000 hectares with it, that brings down my cost per ton inherent.
Yeah, but that's right.
The economy of scale type thing.
That's right, but while that machine is standing in a shed, for example, is also not causing any costs for fuel or whatever, but it does cost you, for example, interest or for your capital outlay. It will occur costs. So in that way, there are different trends or different factors which you need to consider. So fuel consumption while you use is one very important one, and getting more and more important. And with the fuel prices getting more and more important. But there's also other factors, like when a machine gets older over its life cycle, you will have increasing repair costs. So and that is something which you or either you keep the machine longer and you're accepting that there are on the one side repair costs, on the other side a higher risk of unplanned downtime, or you say you want to replace your machine in a shorter cycle, and that way reduce your risk of unplanned downtime, and you go more with the technology or technological progress and use the latest technology every time. There's also an aspect of resale value, so you can use your machine up to for a very long time, accepting that you might get a quite small resale value on that, or you say you want to replace your machine. For example, after 3 or 5 years, when you know there's still a very good market for that machine, and you get a proper resale value for it. So all of that adds up, and then that defines your annual costs. So your annual cost divided by your production gives you your costs per ton of product, and that is the right comparison. And that it looks very different in different farming setups and in different conditions.
So, and to what extent does new technology help me to let's say to bring down those costs? What I want to get to is, I've got an old piece of equipment there, and now I need to look at the new technology. Yes, I've got efficiency, but I've also got a capital outlay, and I'm allergic to capital outlays. So how do I make those calculations to be able to say, okay, but you know what, actually, with this efficiency that I'm going to get from this, and I mean, as you say, maybe a rand per ton and so forth, how do I make that a reality for myself to say, okay, do I need to replace this piece of equipment yet, or no, it's still fine, I can still keep going?
It is a capital outlay, but in the end, it's a cost where you need to look at the depreciation, or you write down the machine, your capital, and your interest costs, for example, on that machine. But which is more important, because if you keep it longer, and then you also need to add a quite bigger amount of money to replace it with a new machine later on. So in the end, the depreciation is what counts on that, not you can say you want to sell your machine after a shorter period of time, and then you just have to invest way less money on top of your traded-in machine to replace it, or you keep it longer and have to accept that you might need to spend a bit more money to jump to the latest technology. That is the one side. Then on the other side, fuel efficiency we spoke about already. And so if you replace your machines more frequently, you're staying on top of the technological progress. So there is quite a lot, and you've mentioned it before as well, a lot of progress in the last years to really reduce the fuel consumption, for example, but also using the technological progress in terms of if it's guidance, if it's variable rate, if it's precision planting, if it's all kind of applications where technology helps you to really reduce your costs. So, and if you work on shorter replacement cycles, you're always staying on top of the latest developments. That gives you a bigger advantage on that side.
But what do you think in terms of technology-wise? What's the replacement cycle, would you feel, thumbs up, of technology in terms of where the one technology is now fundamentally better than the old one?
That is something.
How long is that, or does it differ for different aspects?
It differs from different aspects, and I said it's on the steel and metal side, the development cycles with all the testing, validation that we are doing all around the world. Steel is usually quite long. So specifically in farming, where you only have a limited amount of trials a year. So if you want to, so you can't do a lot about that. But on the technology side, and specifically the electronics, and there's way quicker development cycles, and there's a way more progress and a way quicker progress on that side. So that I think we will see, and we have seen in the last years that the technological improvements are coming way shorter today, way quicker today than they did in the past, when it maybe was all few years that there was a new series of machines which were brought out. So now sometimes there's a software update which can make already a big difference.
That's very true. So okay, we're at Nampo, and especially all the newest technologies and everything is here. What do you see for the future of mechanization? When are we going to get to self-driving tractors and stuff with a battery? Because maybe electric is the way to go in terms of, because it makes a lot of torque in the on the motors and all of that. Where do you see the future of mechanization going?
I don't think there's one topic which will be the future of. So we see at the moment that the developments, as I said, are going quicker and quicker. And we see a lot of different developments on that. Electric tractors, for example. So we are also working on electric tractors, which will definitely have a place in the farming segment, depending on which application. But I think it will take a very long time before you see fully electric tractors, for example, in tillage or applications, because the battery that you would need to power that thing are way too heavy to do that. But there are other applications where it's more about pulling, like spraying or whatever it is, where you will see it, I think, fairly quickly on that side. That the software or the connectivity and the data type, that is the big driver. As I said in the beginning, you want to make more informed decisions, and I think that is the one where you see, which you will see already today, but which will increase more and more, and that you have better data. Or at the moment, machines are collecting a lot of data.
Yeah.
That is easy, but how to win the right information out of that data, how you condense it, how you process it, to get the right information that you can take better decisions. I think that is the big developments.
Because that plays into the whole efficiency game again. It is, so if I can get the data and I can properly make my decision in terms of my farm, because I mean, there's not a one size fits all in this game. I mean, between me and my neighbor, it's worlds apart. So that I can make these proper decisions, and but then also out of and maybe I can throw you into the deep end here. Because I've always been wondering about this, and you said that you must go and visit you at the stand and you'll tell me a little bit more. I've seen the 1 or 2 screens there, but I haven't. I know Janu has been around to, but I haven't had time to look at the video yet. So as a company, where do you then, because you've been known in the market that but Massey is lacking, or Fendt is lacking a little bit behind in terms of all these technological things and whatever to some of the competitors. What are you going to do to either change that perception, if it's not the truth, or catch up to the other guys?
First of all, I think it's not the right perception. If someone has that perception, I'm inviting them again to come visit us, talk to us, and we will show you that this is not the case. And that even more important, again, not just having machines and equipment which is able to capture data, but to help with the right tools to process that data and give the right tools on the hand of the farmer to make decisions for their needs and for their requirements. I think on that side we are very good, and we are very good. We have a very good setup on that to really help farmers take the right decisions. And said, come have a look, and we can speak about it in detail.
Awesome, Dominique. I want to thank you very, very much. Thank you for your time again. Thank you for making this program possible. I think the future is bright. We've got a bunch of challenges, but I think all in all, when all is said and done, agriculture is still the place to be.
It's the best place to be. So I think we have seen it in the last 2 years that it's the best place to be. But thanks a lot for having me here, Chupi, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow on our stand.
Awesome, just a pleasure. So right, that is Dominique, AGCO Ommie Vuur na Nampo. Net 'n bietjie lekker gesels mechanisasie en al daai tipe van dinge. Ek dink regtig, soos ek sê, when all is said and done, landbou is nog steeds die plek om te wees. Ons het 'n baie goeie toekoms. Ons het 'n klompie uitdagings hier en daar. Hoopelik uit hierdie 3 aande se video's kon julle so 'n bietjie meer inligting kry van hoe 'n paar goeders werk wêreldwyd ensovoorts, en om jou te help om bietjie beter besluite te maak. Ek dink regtig die takeaway van hierdie hele storie is: gebruik tegnologie in watter vorm of aard ook al, en waar dit tot jou beskikking is, kry al jou goed op jou plaas bymekaar op een plek en sê hulle enable, ek sien daar's my Afrikaans nou ook op. Enable jouself om actually daai ordentlike besluite te neem om jouself meer effektief te maak, soveel as moontlik te produseer vir so laas moontlik kostes en ja, dan is die toekoms blink. Dis hier van Farmspace af, tot volgende keer. Groete.